Joining me now on the line is Burgess Owens, author of Liberalism, or How to Turn Good Men into Whiners, Weenies, and Wimps. You might know Burgess Owens better as one of the outstanding classic NFL players, a Super Bowl champion in 1981 with the Oakland Raiders, spent several years with the New York Jets, and University of Miami Orange Bowl Ring of Fame placeholder there. Just an outstanding career. Now is working in the healthcare industry, but has become an outspoken conservative and has a few things to say about national anthem protests. Burgess, welcome to the show. It's great to speak with you.
Ed, thank you so much, and I look forward to chatting with you. Very topical discussion, obviously.
Obviously. Now, your book came out about 2 months ago. Came out mid-July, and you can find it on Amazon. The links are in the show post, folks. Make sure you go over and check that out. But I'll bet you didn't think that you could look to the NFL itself for an example of what it was that you were talking about. I mean, the fact that this is coming up now, just right after your book came out, it's got to be both an opportunity but also frustrating for you, because obviously this is a league you love.
Well, and that's a very good point, but the title of the book has a lot to do with what I've seen over the years. It's not just the black race. It's it's the values that we're now not standing strong for because we feel more comfortable being politically correct. And at the end of the day, this is a great example right now. We have a young man who's going to be making $11 million this year. We're finishing up an 8-year reign of a black president. We have the greatest opportunity for anyone in this country to strive, to overcome, to win, if we're told we can win. What this young quarterback is doing in essence, even though he's going to become very successful in a very cocky manner, he's pretty much saying, I can do it, but you can't. I'm going to stand for black oppression, even though around our country we've never seen more success in black race than ever before. But the message is very simply to those who don't understand and are not educated, this country is not working for you. Vote for the Democrats. Vote for the socialists, because it's not working for you. And that's a very, very bad message to give out.
I want to get back to the Democrat socialist aspect of this, but first, I want to say, look, I have no problem with people protesting for their political causes. I think America's great because it allows you to do that as long as you're doing it, within the law. But what I would say is that there are places and times for that, and not just because of respect for the country, but also in terms of effectiveness, because my criticism of what Colin Kaepernick has been doing, and now several players joining him, is that it's disrespecting a symbol of unity for this country, and B, it doesn't do anything. I mean, it's a protest without any sort of impact whatsoever, other than to say, "Look at me, look at me, look at me." Right?
Well, the result, there's a couple things to the point that's made. Number one, those teams that are dividing themselves now between those who believe in our country and those who don't, are not going to go so far. One thing about a championship team, you have to be in total sync. You have to be in total harmony. And this is a great way to dissolve that. The other part is that it's being effective for the Democratic Party. Understand, this is about the election. This is about division. The socialists do not like the American way. They do not like the fact that we believe in our country, believe in our flag, believe there's a God in heaven. They are all anti that. So if they can very effectively have the black vote, and right now Hillary needs 90 to 95% of black votes to win. So right now their focus is how can we get as many feet on the street to protest, and with that protest they want to turn that into votes. That's the goal of the Democratic Party. It has nothing to do with Black Lives Matter. It has nothing to do with the wealth and the greatness of our country. It's getting young men like this who are absolutely clueless about our country and about our background, who is actually succeeding in a big manner to put down our country so that Democrats can win elections.
How frustrating is it for you to turn on the television and see this when you're trying to watch a football game?
Well, what I've done, let me tell you what, I've come very strong at this point. My country comes first, and so does my race. My country and my race. So if there's anybody, if there's a team that is boycotting the flag, I boycott them. I'm not going to watch them, period. At the end of the day, if the NFL cannot decide to keep their brand as a pro-American, proud American brand, if they're going to let a little socialist direct and disrupt their community, their business, then I would just not watch them. I mean, I know some people are very much into watching every single game, but at the end of the day, there's some things we need to stand up for, and I'm hoping that America stands up for the principle of America first. At the end of the day, it's enough of this putting up with these folks who just disrespect our country and our great history.
Last season I was pretty much into watching every game I could get. I could sit down and watch, but last night I turned off the San Francisco 49er game. Even though I was excited, I'm originally a Los Angeles native, so I was excited to see LA get a team back again after 23 years, but I've got better things to do than to sit through one of these protests, and so I skipped it. I completely hear you on this. Go ahead.
I can tell you what. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. You go ahead, sir.
Well, if you want to protest, here's a couple of things if you want to protest. If you really want to, it takes no courage to sit on a knee for 2 minutes. How about the courage to sit on his knees for the entire game, to really bring to the plate what black oppression is all about? Or how about this social justice? How about if he donates $10 million of his income and live on $1 million? And in the world of social justice, nobody needs to make over $1 million anyway. Or he can join me. He can stand very courageously and let's demand that John Lewis, Elijah Cummings, and the entire black caucus resign immediately, because there's a group of black Democrats who have been totally inept, totally not done the job in terms of providing for their communities what they should be providing, opportunity. This is the only profession where people can do absolutely nothing for decades and continue to get a job and continue to come back. And it's time for you to put these guys where they belong. Back in retirement, let them look their own films 50 years ago when they were demonstrating, because they're not doing anything for our race right now.
Burgess, let's just lead right back then into the theme of your book, Liberalism, how it turns good men into Whiners, Weenies, and Wimps. Again, that's available for sale right now in your bookstore and online at Amazon.com and other places. This goes beyond the black community, it goes beyond the Hispanic community, it goes beyond the white community. This is something that is a problem across the board in the United States, which is this idea of utopian top-down social justice, as you put it, or basically government intervention, having elites decide what's best for Americans because they can't choose for themselves. That's the attitude that drives that. And the competition then just becomes who's going to be the elites that get to make the choices.
Exactly. No, you hit it. And this is something that's been going on for quite a while. In the book, I talk about the NAACP, in which back in 1910, the 21 Marxist, socialist, race-controlled Democrats, white Democrats, started the NAACP. And they started they started with a black front because they could not do it in the face. It was a community at that point of conservative, Christian, entrepreneurial, and industrial black community of Republicans. So to get into that, they had to go through stealth. They're doing the same thing today. Here's what we have great answers, though, guys, and this is what I love about our country. We always have answers. At the end of the day, the 28% of black Americans who feel the same way I do. We love our country, our race, our kids. We see a great future, but we've been frustrated because they've been told the Democratic Party is for us. If 28% of us decide to vote on principles and values first, stop voting for socialists if you're Christian, if you're a Catholic, stop voting for atheists if you're a Christian, stop voting for those who decide our kids need to stay dumb, like keeping them in these segregated, bad black schools in the inner city, like the Democrats have done. Stop voting for them if you believe that we all should have an opportunity. If we vote our principles first, we'll pull back our race from the abyss of socialism, and that same small group of committed, principled black Americans can pull our country back. It doesn't take but a few, and all of a sudden we'll have the political landscape changes altogether. So there's hope out there. We have to educate ourselves. And for white Americans, please do this. Do not ever apologize for who you are or for your history. We have a history that allowed us to be the greatest country, to elect a black president because of our common history and ancestors who've done that for us. So we need to stand up, man up, and stop apologizing and be the strong men and women that we're designed to be.
Burgess, what do you advise Republicans who want to engage black voters and try to erode, or I don't want to say erode, try to gain some toehold in these communities where they're only getting 5% of the vote? I talked to some conservative black activists when I was writing my book which is on a different topic. But I mean, that particular question came up, and I got some feedback on what they would like to see. But I'm curious as to what you see and what you think Republicans need to do in order to win that vote.
Well, there's a couple things. First of all, it's going to be the black race that takes care of the black race, just to turn around. Okay, so there are black conservatives out there that are out there working and taking the risk and putting themselves out. Do what you can to support them. If they have a book, buy their book. If they have a television show or radio show, support them. At the end of the day, the message has to be coming through the black conservatives. At the same time, it goes back to the Republicans continue to add pro-black policies. That's what Republicans have done for 150 years. Their policies have always been pro-black. And if we can finally get the message out that the Democrats have switched this around on us, it's been a bait and switch big time. Anything that's been anti-black for the last 100 years, segregation, Jim Crow, KKK, welfare, you go through the list. The David Bacon Act that keeps entrepreneurs from black entrepreneurs from competing, it's all been Democrats. So we need to continue to keep with the pro-black policies. Don't apologize and support those black conservatives. There will be more of us that get out there and willing to put the time in and effort and message ourselves that where we need to go from this point moving forward.
What is your position in the upcoming election? I mean, it sounds to me like you're very much opposed to Hillary Clinton. I'm assuming that you're.
Yes, I was a Cruz guy, and I was very passionate. But at the end of the day, what Donald Trump is doing right now is the best we have going. And I tell you, the fact that he's talking things that resonate with me. He's the first to say the Democrats are taking advantage of black folks, and that's so true. He's the first to go to Detroit and talk about getting jobs for these young men. 83% of black young teenagers are unemployed. That is a crime. Any other race that would have to would be a crime. But without black president, it's no big deal. It's just part of the course. It's collateral damage. And as far as it's concerned, his administration has been just awesome. At the end of the day, black misery is at its all-time high. So I am for and there's the other thing. This is one quick point. We're looking at the head of the party. I'm going to ask your audience out there, please look at the history and heart of both parties. The history and heart of the Republican Party has always been for the black man. The history and heart of the Democratic Party has always been stealth, deceit, and at the end of the day, getting us to be dependent on the elitism. It's been a miserable thing, and all you have to do is go to every Democratic city in our nation. Every single one that's run by Democrats is a plethora of misery. That's all they offer. So we have to be courageous enough to stand strong. And the 28% of black Americans who believe the way I do, let's stand up. It's time to man up, okay? Enough of trying to get people like us and being worried about people calling us Uncle Tom. At the end of the day, let's be strong Americans and win this thing that we need to get back in a big way.
Do you see that? Do you see progress along those lines? I mean, do you think that's that we're on the cusp of seeing that? Because I've been following politics for a very long time, and almost as long as I've been following the NFL, actually. And I see these same lines, sort of these same battle lines, for the last 35 years that I've been following this.
Yeah.
Do you see that changing?
I think, in essence, the best thing that could have happened to the black race is Barack Obama, because he had so much hope and change, and he gave people he had the chance to really bring our country together like no other man in the history of our country. But he blew it because he's a socialist. He's an elitist. And what's happening now, those 20% of black Americans I just talked about, I'm not talking about the elitists. There's a bunch of them out there. I'm not talking about those who feel being a victim is a proud thing to be. There's a few of us who believe in the American way, and they are frustrated by voting for a guy twice, and they're no better off. So in essence, it's kind of giving us a way to now have a baseline. We know how bad it can be. Now let's talk about options, and let's be honest about options. And in those options, let's make sure that we look at principles and values first, not color, not race, not party, principles and values. And if you do that, we will actually be in a much better shape next 4 or 5 years than ever before. I really believe that.
Burgess Owens, author of Liberalism, How to Turn Good Men into Whiners, Weenies, and Wimps, Super Bowl champion, University of Miami football great, and a businessman on his own as well as author. It's been a pleasure talking with you, sir. Thank you for spending some time with us today.
Thank you, Ed. And keep it up. This is what it's all about teamwork. You provide the venue, we'll give the voice, and we'll get this thing turned around, okay?
Thank you, sir.